Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are bringing you one of the most dramatic, high-stakes developments of the war so far, a moment that could reshape the psychological, military, and political balance of power in Eastern Europe. The headline shaking Moscow, Kiev, and capitals around the world reads loud and clear: Crimea Bridge destroyed again, Putin's lifeline hit in massive blast. Once again, the bridge Vladimir Putin personally called a symbol of Russia's strength, unity, and permanence in Crimea has been struck. Once again, the structure meant to prove Russia's control over the peninsula has become a symbol of vulnerability, shock, and strategic failure. And once again, the message sent is far bigger than twisted steel and shattered concrete. This is not just about infrastructure. This is about power, credibility, morale, and the future direction of the war. From the moment news of the explosion began circulating, shockwaves spread far beyond Crimea. Russian state media scrambled to control the narrative. Pro-Kremlin commentators rushed to downplay the damage. Military bloggers began arguing over how such an attack was even possible. Meanwhile, Ukrainian voices framed the strike as a clear signal that no Russian asset, no matter how heavily guarded, is truly safe. To understand why this moment matters so much, we need to go back to what the Crimea Bridge really represents. Built after Russia's 2014 annexation of Crimea, the bridge was never just a transportation project. It was a political statement. Putin himself attended the opening, driving a truck across it, smiling for cameras, declaring that Crimea was now permanently connected to Russia. The bridge became a symbol used repeatedly in propaganda, a physical reminder of Moscow's claim over the peninsula. Strategically, the bridge is even more critical. It is the main artery connecting mainland Russia to Crimea, carrying military equipment, fuel, ammunition, food supplies, and personnel. From Crimea, Russian forces support operations in southern Ukraine, particularly in regions like Kherson and Zaporizhzhia. Damage to the bridge does not just slow traffic. It disrupts logistics, complicates military planning, and forces Russia to reroute supplies through longer, more vulnerable paths. This is why previous attacks on the bridge sent such shock through the Kremlin. Each strike shattered the illusion that Russia could fully protect its most valuable assets. Each attack raised uncomfortable questions about intelligence failures, air defense gaps, and internal security weaknesses. And now, with reports of the bridge being destroyed again, those questions are louder than ever. According to early reports, the blast was massive. Eyewitness footage circulating online shows flames, smoke, and collapsed sections of the bridge. Traffic was immediately halted. Emergency services rushed to the scene. Russian authorities confirmed an incident, but were careful with their wording, avoiding terms like attack or strike in the first hours. This hesitation itself speaks volumes. It reflects fear of panic, fear of political fallout, and fear of acknowledging just how exposed the bridge has become. Ukrainian officials, as in previous cases, maintained strategic ambiguity. Some statements hinted that the bridge is a legitimate military target under international law, while others emphasized that Crimea remains Ukrainian territory under occupation. The message was clear without being explicit. Russia should expect no immunity for infrastructure used to sustain its war effort. Inside Russia, the reaction has been intense. Social media channels that support the war erupted in anger. Many openly criticized the military command, asking how Ukraine could repeatedly strike the same highly guarded target. Some accused officials of corruption, claiming funds meant for air defenses were stolen. Others demanded harsher retaliation, calling for massive strikes on Ukrainian cities in response. At the same time, ordinary Russians expressed fear and frustration. For years, they were told that Crimea was safe, that Russian defenses were impenetrable, that the war would never reach deep into Russian-controlled territory, each successful strike on the Crimea Bridge destroys that narrative a little more. It forces people to confront a reality the Kremlin desperately wants to hide. This war is not contained, and it is not under full control. Militarily, the implications are serious. With the bridge damaged or destroyed, Russia faces immediate logistical challenges. Rail transport, which is crucial for moving heavy equipment, becomes unreliable or impossible. Road transport slows to a crawl. Supplies must be rerouted via ferries or long overland routes through occupied southern Ukraine, routes that are themselves vulnerable to Ukrainian strikes. This creates a domino effect. Delays in ammunition deliveries affect frontline units, fuel shortages limit armored movements, repair and reinforcement schedules are disrupted, commanders are forced to make difficult choices about where to allocate limited resources. Over time, these pressures can weaken Russia's ability to sustain offensive or defensive operations. Psychologically, the impact may be even greater. The Crimea Bridge has been hit before, but each new attack reinforces the sense that Russian control over Crimea is fragile. For Ukrainian soldiers and civilians, it is a morale boost, proof that even the most symbolic targets can be reached. For Russian forces, it is a reminder that promises of security may be empty. Internationally, the reaction is closely watched. Western governments have largely avoided direct comment, sticking to general statements about Ukraine's right to self-defense. However, behind closed doors, military analysts are studying the attack carefully. How was it carried out? What weapons or tactics were used? What does it reveal about Russian defenses? These questions matter not just for Ukraine, but for broader global security calculations. There is also the political dimension. Putin has personally tied his legacy to Crimea. Losing control over the narrative there is deeply damaging. Each strike on the bridge undermines his image as a strong leader who restores and protects Russian lands. It fuels criticism from hardliners who believe the war is being fought incompetently, and from moderates who question why so much has been risked for such uncertain gains. The Kremlin now faces a dilemma. Retaliation risks escalation and further international isolation. Doing nothing risks appearing weak. Repairing the bridge again will be costly, time-consuming, and politically embarrassing if it is struck yet another time. Every option carries significant risk. For Ukraine, the calculus is different. Targeting the bridge serves multiple purposes. It disrupts logistics, boosts morale, and sends a powerful symbolic message. It also forces Russia to divert resources to defense and repair rather than offensive operations. At the same time, Ukraine must balance military gains against the risk of provoking harsher retaliation. As the dust settles and more information emerges, one thing is already clear. This was not just another explosion. It was a strategic shock. It was a reminder that in modern warfare, symbols matter as much as territory, and perception can be as powerful as firepower. The destruction of the Crimea Bridge again raises broader questions about the future of the conflict. Will Russia be able to secure Crimea in the long term? Will Ukraine continue to strike deep behind enemy lines? How will this affect negotiations, if any, and the willingness of both sides to compromise? History shows that wars often turn on moments that redefine confidence and belief. The fall of a bridge may seem small compared to battles and casualties, but when that bridge carries the weight of a leader's promises and a nation's pride, its destruction echoes far beyond its physical span. As we continue to monitor this developing situation, remember that the story of the Crimea Bridge is not just about concrete and steel. It is about power, legitimacy, and the shifting balance of a war that shows no sign of ending soon. The bridge was meant to last for generations. its repeated destruction tells a very different story, and that's where we'll leave it for now. Stay tuned, stay informed, and as always, thank you for watching.